There's some comments have come into the show. Why is faster better? Why is bigger greater? Why is all of this important? You're playing all parts in your life. The biggest error that you can make is to move forward without intention. So it's not that faster's not better, it's just not the norm.
Hey everybody, Jeff here. Before we get started, if you're getting value from the podcast, please take a moment to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For those of you listening on podcast apps, don't forget to rate and review. Your support really helps the show reach more people, and for that, I am truly grateful. Now let's dive in.
Welcome to the Point with Jeff Spikes, the show about achieving goals, embracing growth, and finding your true path. And now, here's your host, Jeff Spikes.
Hello and welcome to The Point. This is your host, Jeff Spikes, and happy Thanksgiving week. It is fantastic to see you and to interact with you as we go through this year-end journey that we've all been on together. And if you're just joining and have no idea what I'm talking about there, you have an opportunity at the end of anything and the beginning of something new to shift out of this start and stop phase of thinking and that ideology around something ending and something starting. And you have the opportunity to shift completely into an idea of just staying in flow. By ending the year strong, by considering what you've had in this past year that you want to leave behind and not move forward with, and by then considering how to end the year strong and make sure that you nail every target you've wanted to nail, that you really complete every goal and task to the best of your ability, and consider what's up for the next year, you actually can start next year now in preparation and action. And some of the recent guests that have been here on the show have had great examples of that, starting with Rodney Erb when we laughed about six-pack abs. We lost, you guys, if you saw that one, it's the one where the video was lost, and for some reason we just ended up with audio at the end, but I felt that it was important to put it up there again. Rodney had a pretty big breakthrough of thinking of, wow, there really is no reason to just throw a goal out the window, because it's just a different way of thinking. And it was a great moment of awareness for him. So what's the point today? The point is you. The point here is always you. There's a baseline understanding here that you are your own expert in yourself, that no one can be a better version of you than you, and that you are absolutely uniquely and wonderfully made. You were born infinite, and you were taught limitation, and you're ready to change the game, and you are in the process or have already changed the game and are moving in an entirely new, powerful way beyond those limitations you were taught. So what can be done to help move forward there? Well, this week is Thanksgiving. As we've said, it's there's a lot going on. You may be the type of person like me who on some years past or an occasion have felt a little flabbergasted, felt upset, or just frustrated at all the additional traffic or all the different amount of people in the grocery store or in any store every time you go there. How about the added traffic on the roads? So depending on where you are in the country, that might be a bigger problem or it might be less of a problem. It might not be a problem at all, no matter where you are, with the right mindset. However, in Arizona, it is a topic of conversation how everyone's back in Arizona that's escaping the cold weather. The roads are full and packed, and the parking lots are full and packed, and it is an obvious difference from what I hear from many people in what they have to tell me about what's happening in Arizona. Being on the road, I don't get to experience that yet, but I'll be back in time for Thanksgiving, and I'm sure I will experience all of it. So what is the point here today for you, considering Thanksgiving, considering this whole idea of staying in flow? This week is about staying in the moment. This is a time to really breathe into understanding that there may be much less expectations on you for certain days. Now, you might work in a field or you might be in service in some way, which has you still working through the holidays. You might be in service to a community just to be helpful. You might also be able to relax and unplug and spend time with family, whatever it is for you. The idea at this time of year and this week in particular is to stay grateful. And what better time than to really consider how gratitude is practiced and escalating that practice into your life to support you now at being in the moment. God bless you if you are in service and working, being in the trades over the years and being, there's people that are still making sure that heaters are running and water is running. There's plenty of service people out there right now this week making sure that anyone and everyone can have a wonderful Thanksgiving, whether they're out in the public or at home with their families. If you're one of those people that stays in service, my hat's off to you and love and blessings to you and your families. It is not always an easy task to be out in the masses of all of that chaos and being of service to people. So, what I've decided to do for you today is to pull out the Gratitude of Champions worksheet that I use with clients. And this has had many changes and iterations throughout the years. We have absolutely, and it gets customized for many clients with one-on-one clients. You really have an opportunity to have things just molded right into your life so that it's really becomes a tool that's yours. And isn't that the point anyway? All of the experts and the gurus and the people who have studied and spent all their time and energy and resources learning to be conduits for you really want you to take things for yourself and make them your own. That's where the real benefit is made. Before I allow it to get off into a tangent, let's just go right to the gratitude piece. The way that you can intensify gratitude in 3 days. Now, if you're watching this on the first day, the day we put this out, then you have 3 days till Thanksgiving. And you can do this in 3 days. You can do it in 2 days. You can do it in one day. You can increase your level of gratitude intensely by following these steps. The first is to look at your goal for the day. What's the one thing that you need to do that day over anything else? And list two or three if you need to. If you want to list a whole list of things you want to do, that's great. That's perfect. That's fine. But what's the one biggest thing that you really want to accomplish from a higher level view, from a 50,000 view looking down? Let all the details be there, but what's that one big thing you want to accomplish? Now, why do we pick a goal? Well, what if you've been here for a while and working here and listening here for a while, what is that by having a goal to move forward to, if you have something that you're trying to attain on any level, but specifically on the short term level, you get a chance to exercise, to practice, to test new ways of being and new strategies and little nuance tips and ideas. So if you just have a goal for the day, you have an opportunity to wrap a gratitude practice around it that makes it more visceral. It brings it into your senses deeper and allows you to automate that feeling and then also feel the feeling differently, which makes it simpler and easier for you to then visualize that feeling for future states, for what you're expecting, so that rather than rehearsing and going through the fear and warning and problem of what could happen on that problematic side, on that critical side, where your critical mind is just working, you have then the opportunity to instead spend time and shift your energy into imagining and thinking and crafting and planning what it's going to feel like to have gratitude for the wonderful things that are happening instead. It's part of that reframe of quantum strengths, and it's part of that reframe we work on in designing strengths when you're aiming and practicing nuanced ways of being from your actual strengths. Have a goal for the day and write that down and try and use if you have the opportunity, maybe you're not just set for this, but use a pen and a paper. It does help include other senses. If you've worked on processing strengths with us and you already have a different instruction based on how you process, go ahead and run with that. But the most common way of ensuring that you're anchoring these things into your being is to use a pen and a paper or pencil and a paper and actually write down what it is this goal is. Then, on top of that, write the three things you're grateful for. And if possible, make them associated to the result you're looking for in the goal. What are you grateful for about the opportunities to achieve that goal? This is especially helpful if you're not looking forward to something. Because if you're not looking forward to something and your critical mind or negative thinking is starting to pick up, and that's not something that you put a stop to, you can then go out and start creating more challenges and more obstacles to overcome just in having that and having a less than positive attitude. This is where the strategy my friend Daryl has written about in the postcards that say yes on them, where it's the left, every time your left foot hits the ground, you say yes. It's another anchoring point. So one of those instructions of anytime you're moving towards something that you feels difficult or challenging or like something that might cause trouble, every time your left foot hits the ground, say yes. It's odd and amazing how that works. And there's lots of veterans. We've used that walking towards to into the VA hospital, and there's lots of veterans that have stories that can speak to that, and I am one of them. So write down the three things you're grateful for. Now, here's where it gets to be a catch. Plan where and how you're going to express your gratitude for these things in advance. So if you have three things you're grateful for, plan three ways that you're going to express that gratitude and then anchor that and do it. And that's a strategy for the morning. The final piece to this, as far as a morning practice that you can do, is also pick a person. Pick one person. And if you do this daily, you're going to be floating on air after about 5 days. But if you do this daily, great. If you don't, at least do it today. Do it for the next few days. Do it through the Thanksgiving weekend. Pick somebody. Pick one person. You can always pick more if you want to, but at least pick and write down one person that you will tell them something that you're grateful for. Write down and tell one person something you're grateful for. And again, you can plan that out. That could be, for all of you efficiency experts out there, that could be one of the ways you will express gratitude today. Take a minute and just review the list again. And this time, write down three things that were unexpected that happened to you. Three things that were unexpected. Maybe it was a thought, maybe it was a result, maybe it was a kindness that was someone portrayed or showed towards you. Look for and understand that there's three things happening that are unexpected and write them down. Know what they are. If you have more, that's great. None of this is limited to only doing the three things. And if you only can think of one or two, that's fine. Write it down. It's perfect. Maybe that's all you're meant to think of. Then write down what the biggest success that you had with gratitude and positivity. Write down the biggest success of the day. What was the greatest win? And if you flow into a list of things that just went well, run with it. But what's the biggest thing? What's the one thing that you're the most grateful for that was a huge success for the day? Or what was the success from your gratitude practice? And then notice how you feel. Notice how you feel when focusing on this throughout the day. Notice, is there a difference in how you feel in your body, in your mind, or your thoughts? Is there a different emotion? Notice how you feel when you're focusing on gratitude and the positive parts of your life. Because this is also a way of countering, if you've given your critical mind a task, a job in life to go to work for you, then the rest of you can connect to the quantum field. You can connect into the all connectedness sense of self and listen to your intuitive nature in a great increase. You have a great increase in your ability to listen when you're not completely bogged down with all of the inner thoughts, watching out for the next bad thing that could happen. Or how to say this well, think about this If you're really good at that, then it's not that hard. It's not that challenging or difficult, and you may not need to spend as much time on it as you are. So to allow that part of your mind to work naturally and instinctively the way it does and open yourself up to positive thought and gratitude, you'll notice a huge change. And you won't lose anything if you're diligent. So that's really to overcome the objection. If you're like, well, it's very important to me to take care of my family. Absolutely it is. Absolutely. There's key people in my life, and I am also tend to be somewhat protective. I'm very protective over people. If I'm handling security in an environment, or if I'm standing watch for something, of course that's sometimes our job, or we feel responsible to be in that role. And that has no bearing on whether or not you keep a positive attitude, or if you focus on healthy, kind, loving thoughts for yourself. And it can be a powerful way of having increasing your level of gratitude and your emotional resourcefulness. Write down how you feel when focusing on the positive parts of your life, and notice your body, notice your mind, notice all parts, and really see if there's something different. Next is, what's the most valuable thing you learned today? And finally, when you do go to sleep, what do you plan to fall asleep feeling appreciation for? And what's the one question you have to ask yourself to prepare you for tomorrow? That is the formula. That's the one of the original worksheets we had on maximizing gratitude. It was we called it the gratitude of champions. And that had another name before that. It's had a lot of names. In the top of it, we own it's a page, it's a piece of paper that we will print. It's just a Word document now, but there's always a box on top for an inspiration. And I I just want to laugh because it's in the template that is used, it says today's inspiration, and it's quote, some really nice quote by some really nice person. Because the idea is that you get to personalize that for you. So if you recreate that on your own, or if you wish to have a copy of this, just DM me and I'll make sure it gets sent to you. It's a really fun, interesting tool. It's been rewritten. There's another version of it that you could ask for as well if you want it, which really starts at night, because a number of years ago, it became more valuable for me, it became more valuable to start my day the night before. The sleep that you're going through tonight is to prepare you, to get you rest for tomorrow. In that realization, it became important to close the day while I'm starting the next day, close one day while I'm starting the next. And I actually learned, so another thing that you can practice if you wanted, this is just advanced, new, different ways, or if you're already thinking in this way. Some people think that's flipped upside down, and others, it's normal too. But so if you're already there, sometimes we'll end our day much earlier in the day. We'll end our day at 4, 5, 6 o'clock at night, and plan in that as we close that one part of the day. Plan, how am I going to successfully close today? How am I going to spend the evening and the night? Is there anything I haven't gotten done yet today that I really need to? Is there anyone I haven't connected with or communicated with? And really focus then on closing a chapter of the day, to then focus on the rest of it productively and successfully. And then it's much easier to put a final stamp on the night in a way that prepares for the next day. So, if you would prefer to have one that starts more at night, and then so it's evening and morning, I can send you that one as well. But these are fun to work with. So you have an opportunity to take this practice of gratitude into your life for Thanksgiving, and not just because it's Thanksgiving, but also because it's a great practice. Really live in the moment. And really, when you can, the other side to this is that when it's most important to be intentional are the times when we don't think about it. Because those are the times that we create memories and do things that you'll create memories and do things that will cause or have you end up into something. There's some comments have come into the show. Why is faster better? Why is bigger greater? Why is all of this important? People challenging, why we have to have such a big goal. I had somebody in another setting talk about how there's a coaches always focus on the basics, and they're typically talking about pro teams or college teams, and how coaches are always focused on the basics. And it's real strategy not to focus on winning all the time, but to focus with their players on the basics. That's absolutely valid. It's accurate and it's wonderful. It needs to happen, right? But there's also people in the owner's box that want the win, that are doing everything they can to set up the coach and the team for a win. You're playing all parts in your life. The biggest error that you can make is to move forward without intention. So it's not that faster's not better, it's just not the norm. The norm is more to slow down and not worry about it. And it's not that we need to always go fast. It's that if we keep it out of focus, some of the most positive things in the world seem to just fall out of focus, out of a need to handle problems, work problems, solve problems, get over crises and dramas and all of these other things and fix things, right? So there's this energy of fixing, and then we work and we get just busy, and then we end up with results we weren't wanting. So if you're ending up with results that you are undesirable, if you're ending up in a place that you'd rather not be, with a result you'd rather not have, thinking, oh, I wish that this had happened instead. That's the evidence in your life. And every one of you has had something like that happen, where you've been in that role where you had wished, and you either learned from it and changed something so you could then get that result, or you didn't and you repeated back through it. And either one's okay. The idea is that it's not that all these ideas of faster, better, or why can't I? One of the comments that came through on I think it was in YouTube, was, when do we just get to relax and not, worry about all of this stuff? And that's the idea. The idea is to just always know what you want. Always know what you want. And if you're thinking, when do we just get to relax? I'm guessing that when I felt that way, so it's an educated guess, that something's happening that you don't really want. And you may be struggling with really understanding or having a good feel or thought about what it is that you do want, and developing and practicing and just working towards what it is that you do want, and finding and learning what the intention is that you can put forth and the actions you can then take that will deliver what you want. That's where having the largest idea of what it is, so that you can understand what those smaller micro behaviors are that you can do that will guarantee that result, allows you to relax, allows you to let go, allows you to just fall into a flow and a rhythm that brings the result you're looking for. And you end up as a conduit for the right energies and the right things, rather than a force of control and criticism and brute force of trying to get things done, trying to fix everything and not working within your greatest self. Bring this gratitude practice into your life with intention. Relax and make your life great. And be intentional about how you reach out to people and how you make them feel. Remember this, that everyone has a story. Everyone has something they're struggling with. And you don't ever want to be the person who tips someone else over their edge. So be the kindest, best person you can be. And full of intention, you can do it. And this practice will drive you even further. So that is it for the Thanksgiving week episode of The Point. God bless and love to all, and we will see you next time.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing episode of The Point with me, Jeff Spikes. Please visit jeffspikes.com for everything you would need to know to engage with me offline. And lastly, thank you for your time, your attention, and your consideration. This is The Point.